You wouldn't believe it. Frank asks his son about his conductor dreams, and his son just sheepishly says he only conducts for fun now and then. In reality, his main gig is as a drummer. Dad's heart was full of mixed emotions. Frank thought his son's conducting talent shouldn't be wasted. He should aim high. But his son preferred percussion, COK-UN. This job has low pressure, decent pay, and lets him tour the world with other musicians. Even though Frank can't help but chuckle, he respects his son's decision. He planned to stay for days with his son, but his son said he'd leave for Europe that afternoon, leaving him amused and bewildered. Left with no choice, Frank packed his bags and cheerily asked his son the same question before leaving. Hearing his son's affirmative answer, Frank's gloomy heart suddenly brightened. Just before leaving, he couldn't help but glance back, thinking, this kid is such a little... Although their reunion was short, Frank still left a love letter for his son carved on a bone. The letter holds the father's unspoken words, and the son worries about his dad. He secretly followed his dad to the station and told his sister about the schedule, insisting she arrive early to pick up their father, as if that would give him a little peace of mind. In fact, his so-called performance schedule was fake. He just didn't know how to relate to his dad as an adult. Frank arrived at the transfer station late at night. Subtitles, only his lonely figure filled the desolate waiting room, just as he thought the bus would arrive. The shuttle had gone. Time difference made his watch slow by 2 hours. Fortunately, with the help of the staff, Frank caught a ride on a passing truck, which got him to the train station just before sunrise. But here, Frank met a homeless man his son's age, intended to help, but was scared by greed. His 83 years of life experience made him genuinely taste the dark side of humanity for the first time, leaving him to collect the shards of his broken hopes. Since he didn't have a prescription, he couldn't find the medication anywhere else. At that moment, Frank sadly dialed home, only to hear his wife soothing. In this moment of helpless solitude, perhaps only his wife's voice could heal the darkness inside him. Finally, he boarded the train. By now, Frank was completely drained and swallowed the remaining pills in one gulp, then dozed off. The train arrived the next day. His little daughter Lucy greeted him at the exit, a face lit with that same childhood surprise. To welcome her father, she even summoned a luxury. In the car, she shared her grand performances over the years, filling Frank's heart with pride. Lucy's apartment was a luxurious one, and she had prepared a cozy room for Frank. However, just as he was about to take his dad to the revolving restaurant on the 66th floor, a friend suddenly dropped by with a child, hastily claiming urgent business to attend to. The friend asked Lucy to babysit for a bit, and she happily agreed. Frank, seeing the adorable child, was filled with joy and volunteered to help. Lucy watched this scene with a smile of contentment. In between, Frank quietly took all his medicine, intending to rest for a moment. But the phone kept ringing. Noticing his daughter was changing the baby's diaper, he wanted to tell the caller to call back later, only for voicemail to kick in unexpectedly. After hearing the message, Frank felt conflicted, realizing his presence had probably caused his daughter much trouble. So he decided to ditch the fancy restaurant plan and stayed home with his daughter to watch the kid, finally sharing a simple dinner together. To spare his daughter trouble, Frank didn't mention the voicemail, saying he was low on meds and must return tomorrow. Subtitles, Lucy still tried to persuade him to stay, but Frank refused to burden her further. Before leaving, he left a letter for his daughter. However, this time, he didn't ask Lucy if she was happy. The time spent together had already answered that for him. With meds used up, Frank had to fly back swiftly. Unfortunately, he encountered a storm cloud midway. Turbulence left him extremely uneasy, so he went to the restroom to splash cold water. When the flight attendant realized trouble and forced the door open, he had already fainted from breathing trouble. When he awoke, he was in a hospital bed. Ironically, his illness brought the family together, but he never saw David. Noticing her father's concern, Amy wanted to say something, but Frank cut her off. After a few days, he noticed the kids hid bad things, like Amy's troubled marriage caused by her husband and grandchild's poor relationship. Seriously, how could a successful man wear the same clothes to work 2 days straight? Clearly, the couple had split up, leaving him with no change of clothes. His youngest son, Robert, deliberately avoided him. He had seen the band's poster outside, noting the earliest show was in a week, with no mention of a European trip. As for Lucy, the child her friend asked her to babysit was actually her own, just a way to hide the fact that she was pregnant out of wedlock. Frank knew kids' secrets, but hoped they wouldn't hide David's truth from him. Amy sensed his foreknowledge and bravely told the truth. Turns out David hadn't been doing well. He faced immense career pressure and relationship struggles, and his mother's passing months ago had hit him. He died from overusing illicit drugs, devastating Frank upon hearing the news. His last hope had actually shattered just like this. Outside, the storm raged fiercely. In that trance between sleep and wakefulness, Frank dreamt of David saying goodbye, repeatedly apologizing for not being the son his father had. Frank realized he had set too high expectations for his kids, and their struggles were intricately tied to his demands. Subtitle: David, how time flies, and a half month has already gone by. Frank's health improved. He was discharged, but his letter to David was returned. The letter only had a simple message and a photo: David, me for Christmas. Sadly, it's too late now.